What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another update. If you are new around here, go and smash that subscribe button. We are also on TikTok, X, Facebook and Instagram as well, so get involved in that as well, but go show us some love. But let's get into the Tottenham update, going into the last 24 hours of Tottenham news, and we're going to start off talking about Fabio Paratici, as Football Italia say that Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy is expected to make a last-ditch attempt a big money last-ditch attempt in order to deter Fabio Paratici from joining AC Milan and to bring him back to Tottenham.
Hail Mary. We'll see what you can do. Look, I don't know if Fabio's going to be coming back. Who's reporting it?
Football Italia.
Football Italia. Maybe we'll... so does that mean Lange's out, do you think, if we make this last-ditch attempt?
I don't know how it's all going to pan out and work, but it feels like, from what we're hearing from the press, Daniel Levy definitely wants to have him involved, and I feel like they could work alongside each other. I think it could be a good matchup where, you know, Johan Lang kind of focuses on the youth and Fabio uses his contacts in the game to bring the kind of ready-made players to the club.
I would like that. I would take that. Is he going to have more control in Milan, though, than he would at Tottenham? I don't know. Look, I don't know what the situation is. I would like Fabio to stay and be more involved. I know we kind of had our fingers burnt a bit in terms of we hired him and then he got suspended and all that kind of stuff. And it was quite embarrassing at the time, to be honest, because of all that happened. And it was kind of something he didn't want Tottenham to be associated with. But we know the job he can do. We know the contacts he has, and it's not something you want to give up easily. Yeah,
exactly. Look, I've made it very well clear that I'd love to see him back in the sporting director role, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. It does look like, if you follow the stories in the press, that he is all but set to join AC Milan. So we'll have to wait and see how that one progresses. Next up, we're going to talk about Decky once again. Yesterday, we brought you news that AC Milan are sniffing around. Now a Milan publication say that Paratici is eyeing a sensational move for Decky to be his first signing as AC Milan's new sporting director. Spurs will demand a minimum of £50 million in a bid to score him, to scare off the Italian side. And look, I think this is just a story built up by the press, because Paratici is looking like he's joining AC Milan. Paratici signed Decky for Juventus. He signed Decky for Spurs. So they're putting two together, saying that he's going to try and sign Decky for AC Milan.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, to be honest. First of all, Milan are a big club. Decky, at the moment, is doing very well at Tottenham, and he's really developed into a very good kind of number 10 and central midfielder. So it doesn't surprise me that Fabio, would want to make a statement like that by bringing him to AC Milan. So I don't not believe it. I think it would be a lot more than 50 million, though. And I don't know if Milan have that kind of money.
I just don't think, with the Romero news hovering over us, I just can't see Spurs letting go of Decky and Romero in the same window.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about Coutinho Romero now, because we brought you the news yesterday regarding AC Milan sniffing around and Romero is their dream signing and all that. Now Sky Sports and the Daily Mail saying that Romero is understood to be interested in exploring a move away from Spurs this summer as he looks to play Champions League football. Atletico Madrid have been tracking Romero's progress closely and see him becoming one of the top centre-backs in the world, and now want to sign the player this summer. And if he does join Simeone and Atletico Madrid, I do see him kind of growing in stature massively.
Yeah, and I think it would be a phenomenal signing. Obviously, this move is definitely growing legs, isn't it, in terms of catching fire when it comes to more and more publications kind of confirming the story. So it does seem to have a lot of legs to it, unfortunately. And I understand it. I think it makes a lot of sense for everyone involved. If Romero's not going to sign a deal, he doesn't want to be at Tottenham because of the way we've been going. Atletico being the club they are, the manager they have, the players they have, I can understand how he wanted to go there as well. So it all kind of lines up and makes sense. Obviously, if Tottenham were to win Europa League and have a really good end to the season, who knows what might change his mind. But I think at the moment it's unlikely that all of those things, even if they do happen, would change his mind, to be honest. And I think Romero is probably destined for that kind of move at the moment. And the most important thing for me is Atletico have shown they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, and they're the kind of club who've been willing to spend in recent years. And that, for me, is the main point where I think, okay, this could really happen.
You look at it though, right? And as much as it pains us to lose our best players, and we don't want to be that selling club, and all the points that I brought up yesterday about that, with Romero specifically, like, we haven't been able to get consistent football out of him ever since he's joined. I think he's averaging like between 20 and 22 games per season since he's joined us. He's had quite a few injury problems. If a big bid does come in, like, would it be the smarter thing to sell at this point?
Look, for me, if he's not happy here and he's not going to sign a contract, then yes. But in terms of the quality of player, I don't see us getting an upgrade on him, to be honest. I think whoever we get is probably going to be a downgrade. I know people look at his some mistakes he makes sometimes, and also, yes, this season he's had a big injury, but I still think he's a phenomenal defender, and there's a reason why clubs like Atletico think he's the best centre back one of the best centre backs in the world. They're not stupid; they can see that. And for me, I agree with them. And you see how he can be on the international level. I think we've seen it for Spurs as well. Maybe not as much as we would like, but we've seen it on a number of occasions for Tottenham how amazing he can be. So I think it would still be hard for me to see him go, but I think it would be the smart business to kind of move on. Also, sometimes you do need to know when to sell. And maybe this would be the smart time to do it, because you don't want to keep a player who's not happy, and that's the reality.
And we saw that with Christian Eriksen, right? We kept him against his will. He wanted to leave, and then after that, we just never saw the kind of same Christian Eriksen as kind of that we were seeing in the past. And if a player's not happy, you just have to let them go. That's the reality. Let's talk about potential incomings now. Jacob Steinberg says that Tottenham are understood to be tracking Sunderland starlet Chris Rigg ahead of the summer window. West Ham are also interested and lining up a possible move for the midfielder. I saw another publication saying that Spurs are ready to offer something like 35 million for the Sunderland midfielder. 17 years of age, getting consistent football for Sunderland this season. He's kind of a very versatile midfielder, can play the 6, can play the 8. I think he could even play the 10 as well, and having a very good season. And he first broke in actually to the Sunderland side as a 16-year-old last season, where he saw quite a lot of game time, particularly for a 16-year-old. So what's your thoughts on Chris Rigg?
Another talented youngster. Clearly we've got our hand on the pulse in terms of these youngsters around Europe, which is a smart thing to do. And I've seen a lot of his goals for Sunderland this year. He seems to be doing really, really well. So I like the fact that we're targeting a lot of the talented youth around, even if it's in England or whatever it is. So I think it's smart. Does he come straight into the first team? Does he get loaned out again? Probably, I would say. But I like the sound of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's doing very well in the Championship this season in a team that are doing very well in the Championship in Sunderland. So is he ready for Premier League football? You never know. It's actually interesting as well, because Chris Rigg played for the under-19s for England, and he scored the 1-0. He scored the winner, assisted by our very own Mikey Moore as well.
Agent Moore. Get them both in. Get them playing together. Get a little partnership going.
Seems like they've already got that partnership. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about another potential incoming in Kingsley Coman. Builder reporting that Tottenham are to be given the opportunity to sign Kingsley Coman when they enter a potential transfer discussion with Bayern for Matisse Tell permanently. After almost a decade-long spell at the Allianz Arena, Bayern are prepared to sell Coman at the end of the campaign.
Little double deal.
Yeah,
no chance. We are not signing Kingsley Coman. The guy is nearly 30. He's on monstrous wages. He's got a horrible injury record. It's just not going to happen. I don't see us going in for him. I know he's a great player. I really like Kingsley Coman. I do think, in terms of how we play at the moment, he would be a really good fit. But I just don't see Tottenham ever spending that amount of wages on him. It's never going to happen. Also, should we, when he's at that age and he's got that injury record? I think this season he's actually done all right, I think, in terms of injuries, but I don't know. It doesn't. When you're looking to kind of in the way that we are, the project that we're building, I don't think he seems to fit.
The way the age doesn't put me off too much. It's more the wages. Like, he's on 330 grand a week or around about. Sorry, it's not even the wages that puts me off. It's the injury record that puts me off the most. If he was a player his age and we were willing to spend those wages, I would say bring him in, because the guy's a pure winner. He's pretty much won in every single season of his career, apart from last season. That was in his first year with Harry Kane. That was pretty much the only season he didn't win. So, I mean, 28, you pretty much should be in the prime of your career. And when you're looking to take the club onto the next level, I mean, these are the kind of signings that we should be gobbling up.
Yes, but I also feel like he's not in his best moment as well, to be honest. Like, I know he's a good player, but he hasn't really been able to nail down like that spot at Bayern Munich in their starting 11. I don't know. I think he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and maybe he just needs to feel like the main man somewhere. But I feel like at 28, with his injury record, it's too much of a risk.
The guy, yeah, but I agree with you. With the injuries are the things that would make me say no. But you look at these players, right? You look at Marco Asensio, for example. Like, you probably would have said before he went to Villa, like no chance. Like, but he's gone to Villa and he's done so well. He's a top quality player.
He's doing well. Is he going to be? Is it going to be the same in 18 months? You know,
we don't know that, but he's a top quality player and he's doing very well. That's what we know right now.
Yeah, but you know,
it's the same with Kingsley Coman. He's a top quality player.
Yeah, but you don't want him to do well for a few games. You want him to do well for a long period, and whether he's capable of that on a consistent basis, I don't know.
Yeah, I think with the talent that he has, that doesn't tell me he shouldn't be, and he won't be.
Well, the problem is, I guess with injuries, but yeah.
Yeah. Court offside say that Tottenham are eager to sign Angel Gomes. With the experience in the Champions League and the England setup, Gomes is a key target for Spurs, particularly as he's set to leave France on a free transfer, which is obviously the key thing there. And I think, Spurs will definitely be looking to try and get him in.
Definitely. He fits the remit, good age, good kind of position we're potentially looking at in terms of adding a bit more physicality into that midfield. So I like Angel Gomes. I like what he brings to the table. He's more of a facilitator, which we don't really have. But again, he kind of plays in Salzburg-Val's position, so I don't know how much he really adds, unless we're looking to play him in the 6. But I don't see him as a 6.
Yeah.
So.
Next up, we're going to talk about Feyenoord winger Igor Paixao is attracting interest from Tottenham and several other clubs across Europe. He's already scored 11 goals and 15 assists in 38 games across all competitions this season for Feyenoord. A tricky winger, predominantly plays on the left, but has played a couple of games on the right and in the middle as well for Feyenoord this season. And he's also been fairly linked to Liverpool to be reunited with Arne Slot. But he is a player that's doing fantastic this season.
We need another winger, and I don't know what the underlying data says about him, but clearly doing well at the moment. But again, it's in the Dutch league, so always have to caveat that. But there's obviously you've got players like Bakayoko who are a lot of interest to a lot of teams around Europe. Just because he's off the back of the Dutch league doesn't mean he's a bad player. But whether he's the answer on the wing, I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I have seen him play a couple of times, and I remember one game, I think it was against Man City, where he absolutely cooked Kyle Walker on that side. And, if that's anything to go by, then I would say bring him in. But, I mean, that's just such a small sample size, and I'd like to see him over a longer stretch of games. But I think that he is definitely a player that's kind of growing in stature at the moment, that's for sure. And if Arne Slot would want to bring him to Liverpool, then I think that's probably a key indicator of where he kind of sees him. Next up, we're going to talk about Noni Madueke, as a publication called The Boot Room say that Tottenham are now interested in signing Chelsea winger Noni Madueke, who is facing an uncertain future at Stamford Bridge. The Blues are now willing to sanction Madueke's departure this summer, and a move across the capital could be a possibility, with Spurs joining the race for his signature alongside Newcastle and Aston Villa. Would you like to see Madueke back at Spurs?
I like Madueke. I think he's still a bit inconsistent. The guy clearly has quality, and also he's a kind of right winger that I think we need. Someone who likes to cut inside, ask different questions of the fullback that we don't really have at the moment. The problem is that Chelsea hasn't really set the world alight. He's shown flashes of brilliance, and I think he's gone through spells where he's been consistently good. At the beginning of this season, he was really good. I think the back end of last season as well, I thought he was quite good. But when he first joined as well, Chelsea, I think also this season, second half of this season, really gone off the boil. Why are they looking to get rid of him? Is there something going on behind the scenes? Has he got, I don't know, is there an issue there? Do they think he's not good enough? Do they want an upgrade on him? Because at the beginning of the season, it looked like he was going to be, at his best and starting every week, but it hasn't really turned out like that. If you're talking about, a cheap deal, Tottenham definitely will be sniffing around that. Does he count as club trade? Because if he did, that would really help, I think. But I don't know if he does. Because I think he left too early.
I think I read a report saying he doesn't count as club trade.
So if he doesn't, but he is English. I like him. I think he would improve what we have now, to be honest. But I don't know if he's the answer to all our problems. But I like him.
7 goals this season, same as Sonny in the Premier League. But, 3 of those did come in one game. But... I'll probably kind of try and stay away from Madueke, because I think he does have talent and I think he's a good player, but he's just way too inconsistent for my liking. When we're looking for someone as a winger to come in as the main winger signing this summer, I just think we need to be setting our sights a bit higher than Noni Madueke, to be honest.
Chelsea's cast off, so I don't like the sound of it, to be honest.
Caught Offside as well are saying that Tottenham are strong candidates to sign Bournemouth playmaker Justin Kluivert. The likes of Man United, Newcastle and Liverpool are also admirers of his talent. Obviously, he's set the Premier League alight really this season. He's been brilliant. And he's kind of like overshadowed Semenyo a little bit, because everyone at the beginning of the season was talking about Semenyo. Now everyone's talking about Kluivert.
Yeah, you know what? It's a type of signing Tottenham would make. Just I'll tell you why. It's the kind of like we don't really need, but we can get him, so we're just going to bring him in and just try and fit him in somewhere. It's the kind of signing we've made down the years. For me, I think he's had a fantastic season, really coming into his own, versatile as well, can play in a few different positions, but has really found a home kind of off the striker in that number 10 position centrally. To be fair, a lot of his goals have been penalties, so there has to be caveated as well, but I think he's still done really well this season. It's just not a signing I think we really need, unless we're letting go of Decky or Maddison. I don't see the need for him.
Yeah, he's a guy though, like you say, you know, he scores a lot of penalties, and he does, but he looks a threat and a danger in pretty much every game he's playing at the moment.
I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I think he's a really good player. I think he's done really well, but it's just a signing which is not really that necessary for me.
Do you not feel that he can do the business for us on the wing? I know he's played most of the games in midfield and number 10 this year, but he has played a few games off the wing, and I think that's where he kind of made a name for himself, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's at his best in the 10, isn't he? I don't think, for me, unless we change manager and we're playing with our wingers in a different way, then maybe yes.
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Tyler Dibling, as Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail says that Tottenham are one of 14 Premier League clubs who have inquired about Southampton starlet Tyler Dibling. Dortmund, Munich and Leipzig have also shown interest. However, John Pearcey has said that Southampton want over £100 million for Tyler Dibling. Tottenham have identified Dibling as a priority target and made inquiries to sign him in the January transfer window. I mean,
100 million.
They must be having, I don't know what they're smoking down at St Mary's, but over 100 million for Tyler Dibling must be having a laugh.
What is that, 20 million a goal he scored this season or something? It's going to grow at 20 million with each goal he gets, but that's a ridiculous price. I don't believe that they're going to be demanding 100 million. I think if they are, then he's not going anywhere for a while, because he's not going to be going. No one's going to be paying 100 million for him. Think about the players who've gone for 100 million: Rice, Grealish, Kane. Who else? Like in the Premier League anyway. And no one who has been as unproven as Dibling. The only one I can compare it to in world football is maybe when Atletico signed João Felix for 100 million from Benfica when he was 19.
There is no one that is signing Dibling for 100 million.
No,
I can guarantee you that.
No chance. I think even half that, I think you're going to struggle to get that fee.
The reality is with Dibling, his contract is going down and down and down. He's not signing a new one. He's refused to sign a new one. So this 100 million for Southampton is just very fanciful from their opinion, and they're going to have to accept half, if not less than that.
Yeah, I think it's just a negotiation tactic to drive up the price. I don't think they're ever going to be demanding that much. No, they know it's not a serious demand, unless they're that intent on keeping him. But but
if they're that intent on keeping him, they risk losing him for nothing.
How long has he got left?
I think it's a year or two.
He's got a year?
I'll check. No, I think it's 2 years.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
2026.
2026, so he'll have a year left in the summer. Well, he's not going for 100 million then for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, literally, I don't know what you're smoking at Southampton, but I guess it's just a negotiation tactic. But yeah, that is your Tottenham update for today. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and go and follow us on all social media platforms as well. TikTok, X, Instagram and Facebook. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.